Hey everyone, I just spent just shy of 3 hours with 16 studios here in the great state of Florida. And we worked on one little piece of the puzzle in terms of enrolling people seamlessly at the end of the first visit. And that's the greeting and how to properly uh, do an overview to help the brand new student who comes for the first time understand what to expect. Hi, for those who, if we haven't met, my name is Fred Mertens. I'm the co-creator of this program. In addition to working on Warrior as a business system, I also manage 16 locations for Grandmaster Clark. So there isn't a problem or a challenge that you have or will experience that we haven't addressed successfully. So moving forward, if you have any upset in your business or any challenges that you can't overcome, just go through the platform school and just type me out a message, a little SOS, and I will do everything I can to address your concerns. Welcome to the call. Well, I guess I'll continue. Hey, Monday is our Q&A session, and that simply means questions and answers. I know a lot of you, perhaps we've worked together in the past, or you're new to the school site, and you may have noticed that some of the tactics that we use to build a membership are slightly different. So if you've had a chance to review some of the materials or watch some of the videos or listen to some of the audios, and you have any concerns or questions, now is the time to ask. And if we don't have any questions, we'll run with a couple of topics that we know are pretty hot. So
Yeah,
what's wrong with the
there's
chat, sir?
there's one question in the group we can get started with.
Go ahead.
Let me pull that up. And then while I have everyone on the call, just kind of want to share screen and show how to add this to your calendar if you haven't already, just because that way you won't miss any upcoming calls. So everyone's probably familiar with the community tab. This is where you can ask questions where we'll either answer them right there or bring them in on the call like this. Just type something out. You select your category. So if you have any like wins, you'd put in wins, lead generation, enrollments, and just hit post. But for the calendar, if you go over here, you'll see every Monday we have this Q&A call for you guys. This is for the free group. Everyone's invited, and you just click on here, add to calendar, Google, Apple, Outlook, Yahoo, whatever you have, it'll add it to your calendar so that will notify you. And then you have the Zoom link for it right here. And this time will be localized to whatever time zone you're in. And then if you're looking over at these three calls here, these are for the Warrior Black Belt members. So these are clients of ours that are getting more personalized training. And so if you are interested in seeing what that's all about and kind of what that would look like, putting the systems into your school, you can go ahead and book an onboarding call here. But again, these are locked if you're just in the free group, only for the Black Belt members. But now that question from Phil, we have 8-year-old black belts. Hey guys, love the videos all the way from Australia. I have a question about when kids start at 5 years old. If it's 300 classes to black belt, how many kids do you get that are 8 years old with their black belt? Is it rare, common? Our youngest is 10 or 11. Just want to hear what our take on it is. So, Master Martins?
Yeah, I'll jump in there. It can be as common as you'd like for it to happen. We could have probably a pretty spirited conversation, or maybe it might sound like a debate in terms of whether or not a child student should be awarded the rank of black belt. Well, my opinion, based on my many years' experience in the academies I'm involved in, is this: the most successful schools on the planet do have that in common. They award ranks, black belt ranks, to children. Now, you can make the belt look different if that's what you think you need to do, but the goal isn't to get them the black belt. The goal is to help them create a lifelong relationship. And it just doesn't seem like it makes good sense to hold somebody back, to not allow them to receive the award of their hard work and effort. So my recommendation is whatever your protocol is for your black belt requirements in terms of classes, it doesn't make a difference about the age. If you were to visit Jacksonville, incidentally, I'm here now. I'll be here in Jacksonville the next couple of weeks. If you came to one of our certification events, you would literally see hundreds and hundreds of black belts. I mean, here in Jacksonville, it's not uncommon to have a dozen students in an academy that are third, fourth, even fifth degree black belt. And it's because Master Clark years ago was very open-minded about the idea of rewarding what you want repeated, and that is consistent training regardless of age. And the number of young men and women that work for Master Clark and are on our roster who are black belts, heck, I can go so far as saying maybe half, or at least 40% of them, earn their black belt before the age of 16. The reason why sometimes it's a challenge for a studio to award a black belt sooner rather than later is they may not have enough curriculum and processes for advancing beyond the rank of first degree black belt. And if that's a challenge for you, I can share with you what happens both in California with Master Pesci and here in Jacksonville. But the truth of the matter is, if you're a student, if your kid graduated a year early from high school, you tell everybody. You might even take out an ad in the local newspaper saying, "Congratulations, Timmy. You did in 11, not 12 years." So we boast about moving fast and quick accomplishments almost in any realm of our life. However, some of us feel a little uncomfortable with the idea of advancing adolescents to the rank of black belt. And again, my opinion is I don't want to keep them just for this summer. I want to keep them for a lifetime. And perhaps this could help you think a bit differently. One of the things you got to consider is, why are you enrolling students? And you got to give yourself a big, bold reason that would encompass the concern about earning a black belt at a young age. A lot of people enroll folks for no other reason than the money. Some people enroll folks because they love teaching. Other people enroll folks because they want to spread the good news about their martial arts. And to do that, you need to create instructors. And I can tell you with confidence, both in California with Master Pesci and here with Grandmaster Clark, we enroll students because we want them, we need them. We would like to see them actually pursue a career in martial arts. And first degree black belt, that's just the first door that swung open. So in regards to young kids earning black belts, give us some thought. Write your concerns down on paper. And once you have a list of cons, perhaps you can reach out to us and we'll balance that with a list of pros in terms of why you should do it. I'm not sure if that was a real answer, but it was sort of an overview of what I've experienced and what we're doing in the academies I'm directly involved with. Master Pesci, you want to add to it?
Yeah, there's something else I think to consider too, is I don't think a black belt at 8 means you're a black belt at 30. I've seen my kids started swimming lessons when they were a year and a half, 2 years old. If you start swimming lessons at 12 years old and you both do a year worth of swimming, you're still not going to be equal swimmers. One's a little kid, one's older. However, learning how to swim at that young age, as you continue to grow and mature, not only will you become that stronger, that better swimmer, it's still a skill you'll have. It's a reaction skill you'll have for the rest of your life, like martial arts. And if you continue to train, you'll be light years ahead of the guy that waited till he was 12 to begin.
Point.
So I'm a big fan of it, provided they meet whatever requirements you have in place. And I know different schools have different requirements, and some people even do a junior black belt. That's fine, but recognize and reward what you want repeated and keep them training. The more years I can keep a person training, the bigger the benefit, the bigger the outcome. So if you feel like you have to differentiate, like, the Kooky one, they have their Poom black belts and they have their over 16 black belts, but they still reach a level and continue to climb. If you cut them off and don't let them progress any further, they will quit. They will quit. And a lot of them will quit even sooner because they realize in advance, oh, I can't go very far. So yeah, I find, and that's where we work with school owners to help customize, to help it fit you for what you want to achieve. That's fine. It's not one size fits all, but there needs to be some way for them to continue to progress.
And to take it one step further, the real purpose of helping people in martial arts is to create better people. Well, why don't we start early? What common courtesy is not that common, particularly with young kids. I mean, it is atrocious as far as what you may see on a typical day in public with how children treat their families. I tell you what, in your membership, when you coach kids on how to behave, how to act, how to be a more responsible and responsive young person, that is a black belt. That's a black belt in life. So the idea of children earning black belts, I am good with it. And I'll tell you, I haven't always felt that way, but looking at the results that were created here in Jacksonville, I think is the only way. If you want to build an enormous organization, don't set up roadblocks that your students can't go beyond. In this idea of restricting rank, don't do it. Maybe modify it if you have to, but for the most part, if people aren't enjoying a sense of progression, if people don't know what they have to look forward to next, if people don't understand what the long-term goal is, they quit. And our job is to prevent that from happening.
That's right.
I see another question popped up, sir. Would you read it for us?
Yeah, Kevin has, I know it's important to have all the decision makers together when presenting membership. I have a student whose parents are separated and will not come together. That's unfortunate. How can I present the membership best in this situation? Well, I literally just had this happen at our new location in Oak Grove last week. The dad, Mrs. Galvin, booked the appointment for his two kids, and she tried to get, is mom in the picture? Well, yeah, we're divorced. Okay, great. Well, let's schedule time where you can both be here. Oh no, her boyfriend doesn't like us to do anything together. Well, there's a big red flag in the first place. The fact she's letting her boyfriend dictate how she treats and handles her children. Okay, but let's move forward anyway. All right, well, let's schedule a time where you can come in. Maybe we can patch her in via Zoom or FaceTime. He's like, okay, maybe that'll work. So we booked it. We let them know that if approved for membership, we'll review the membership and help them save money for getting started right away. We went through all the 7 steps of the enrollment, but here's what we did a little different. Go ahead, sir. Did you want to jump in?
I have a follow-up for that. Go ahead and finish.
Okay. So what we did was when he came in, we had him fill out the top portion of the PA. We talked a little bit, and then I said, well, let's go ahead and FaceTime Mama right now. And he's like, okay. So we got Mom on FaceTime. I introduced myself, say hi to the kids. The kid's like, Mom, happy. Everything was great. Said, well, here, I'm going to take you. I'm just going to hang on to the phone, and I'm going to take you through our tour. And I've got a tripod over here where you can actually watch the kids go through their lesson. It's going to be great. We went through the tour, had kept Mom in the conversation the whole time. I thought, oh, this is going to work just like before. And then we got to the orientation lesson. I put her on the tripod so she could see the kids. We got about 3 minutes into the orientation lesson. Boom. She hung up the phone. I thought, well, that's not good. Dad goes, oh, she hung up. The kids were completely deflated. But, we carried on. We got down. And I said, well, let's go ahead and schedule a next lesson where we can have Mom be a part of this conversation, because he did make it very clear that she was going to pay for half or he couldn't do it. So why talk about the money if she's not going to be there? And he said, well, hang on, let me try and call her again. I said, okay, because he really wanted the kids to do it. The kids were super great. He calls up Mom. She's like, and he puts her on speaker and he's like, hey, I forget whatever her name is. She's like, are you almost here yet? She barks at him. He goes, well, no, we're at the Taekwondo school. Can I FaceTime you again? So he wants to go over the membership with us. She's like, I don't have time for that. Click, hangs up on him. I said, well, sir, it sounds like you have a different conversation you need to have before we can talk about your acceptance into our academy. So why don't you go talk to Mom and let me know how that goes, and then we'll go from there. I'm not going to continue to chase that rabbit down a hole that can't be had. Let it go. Let it go. Now, unfortunately, he hasn't reached back out. We're going to reach out to him today, but the truth is not everyone's going to be your client. And if they can't comply and become a part of this community that you're building, you don't want a bad apple in there. All right. Let it go. Master Mertens, you want to add something?
Well, let me read the question and then gain some clarification.
Okay.
And it reads, all right, Kevin, you ready? It reads, I know it's important to have decision makers together when presenting membership. Well, Kevin, where are you? You're out there somewhere, right?
Yeah, he's right there.
Okay. How do you know? How do you know it's important to have both decision makers there?
Because you've told me, sir.
No, but I told you that was the best strategy, but how do you know that in this case, both Mom and Dad have to be there? How do you know that?
Well, when I had initially talked to one parent, they kind of deferred to that. Well, I'm going to check with so-and-so, the dad. Oh, and then threw in, oh, but we don't really talk to him, but I'm going to talk to him too. And it was all of this like deferment there. So it felt like, they have, joint decision making to do.
Well, again, you're guessing, because based on what you just told me, it may not be necessary to have the X in the room. So you got to find out. Mm-hmm. And you find out on the phone at the front door and before you teach the class. And it sounds like this. Mrs. Lewis, after our lesson, if you love it as much as I know you will you be able to make the decision to enroll tonight and save money on membership? Or does someone else need to be a part of this decision? Maybe your spouse or another parent, perhaps a grandparent? Will you be able to make the decision for membership? Now, whatever she says next, now I know whether she does need this other person involved. And when they say, well, I think I like for my husband to be there, be direct. I said, is he needed in this decision, or have you made up your mind to help your child become as self-confident as you want? Which is best? Just push the agenda. I think, particularly with ladies, mommies, I think they're fibbing. They're not telling you the truth. And let me use my own life as an example. I don't think I've paid a bill in 15, 20 years. I have no idea what the household bills are. None. I have no idea where that dress came from that my daughter's going to wear to prom. I have no idea that the sporting gear in the garage, where it came from. I have no idea. And the reason I have no idea, like most American families, mommies drive the household. And whether you agree with that or not, you have to do two things. One, look at your membership. I mean, look at your memberships. Look at them and see who signed on the line that is dotted. And you're going to find that 80, 85, 90, 95% of all the memberships you've ever orchestrated were signed off by a mommy. So when you're direct with the mother, as far as finding out whether or not she can make a decision, you'll get to the truth the first time you ask. So I'm only concerned with having all the decision makers if all the decision makers is necessary, and I'll find out. Now let's recap. I'm going to find out over the phone during the first information call. I'm going to make mention of it during the confirmation call. I'm going to bring it up again at the front counter before we start our magical mystery tour. And I'm going to do it a fourth time before I sit down after the first lesson. Ms. Lewis, there's no doubt in my mind we found the right martial art academy. And we don't need to use the rest of your trial membership to figure that out. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to roll tonight. And I'm going to show you how to save money. And will you be able to make the decision? Oh, sure I can. Great. Check. So by leaning against the idea if somebody else has to be a part of it, you get to the truth, and then you can decipher whether it's important to have all the decision makers there. Did that help, Kevin?
Absolutely, sir. Yes, thank you.
All right. So tell me what you took away from that dissertation.
You really have to, during the initial conversation, drill down to, who is the decision maker? Can you make that decision? And, if there are multiple people, you need to discover that. But at the same time, if you present to them and ask them, hey, this is where we want to go. Are you going to be able to make that decision? You can find out that, how many people are really necessary to make that, presentation.
What I have here is the revised dialogue for the greeting. And we're doing a couple of things pretty interesting here in Jacksonville. One of which is that when they first come in, we do our little greeting at the front counter. We have them download our application. And the reason why they have to download the application is to properly register for their first lesson and to give me permission to teach them. So we're putting people on the app ASAP, and that's something I'm really excited about doing. However, the last thing we say at the front counter before we go on this tour is this. Mrs. Lewis, after the lesson, if you love our program as much as I know you will, I'm going to explain how you can save money on tuition by enrolling tonight, okay? And if that's the case, can you make the decision about membership, or is there anyone else who needs to be involved? Maybe perhaps your spouse or another parent, maybe the grandparents. Does anyone else need to be involved in the decision to save money on tuition by enrolling tonight? Zip. And they're going to tell you. And once they say, well, I'll be able to make a decision, you've gotten that potential objection away. Because after all, there are only three objections when it comes down to signing people up: money, time, permission. Money in terms of the amount of money you ask, and we have a strategy for that, where we ask for a significant amount of fallback, allowing this person's budget to fit seamlessly in with our membership. Time is the number of times they come to class, the length of time they commit. We've got all that covered. But the third objection, which I know has burdened you guys over the course of your career, is permission. Spousal permission, parental permission. Always ask, can you make the decision, or does someone else have to be a part of this? Which is best? There you go. Great. There's another question, Roman.
I got it. The next question was from Master Hackelman. He says, how do you keep track to promote every class? We use digital software. We scan the barcodes, but we also brought back the paper attendance cards, but they only have enough boxes on there to complete each rank. So the goal is to go through cards, right? And every so many classes. It says on there, after X amount of classes, this box you get a stripe, this box second stripe, third stripe, new belt. It has a belt rank goal on there. It has if they've prepaid, or are they paying monthly, or do we have to charge them as we go? It's got all this belt sizes on there, all the information we need to make things run smoothly. But most importantly, part of our tour is explaining the cards and how this is how we have accountability and goal setting to help students continually progress, achieving each step on their way to one day becoming a black belt. And so then at the beginning of the class, we collect the cards. They turn them in when they come into class. They pull their card, they put it in a basket. And then during the warm up, we rifle through the cards like a deck of playing cards. And anyone that's supposed to get a stripe or a belt that day, it's prepared during the warm up. So at the end of class, it's laid out. We have a rank station. And at the end of each class, we're awarding stripes and belts and any other awards that need to be done. We typically take a group photo. We get the parents involved as well. Everyone's clapping and cheering. It's a huge celebration every single class.
Let me add to that. The secret to your success is how long a student is involved with your membership. Well, we all knew that, but how do you keep them? You reward what you want repeated, and we want you to show up. If you can get a student to show up 2 times a week over the course of the year, you have a full-fledged martial artist on your hand. And so all this effort, keeping track of the attendance and stamping the cards and scanning, it's so much work. It is the only work that will keep most. The moment a student quit, one of 2 things happen. They realize they'll never, ever, ever acquire the skill and talent to be happy. And second, they don't show up. They take breaks. We'll go tomorrow, which could also be a challenge with your schedule, but we're not going to change the topic. If you want your students to stay longer, help them realize how they'll develop in your program. And you have to reward the effort in class. If you do that, you'll keep students longer. Okay, I see a question about, would you read it for us? It's from Master Karpiak. And sir, it's so good to have you on this call.
Yeah. Would you recommend FaceTime when only one parent shows up and you had confirmed that both were coming for the intro? Okay, well, let's start with that part. If I confirm both parents are going to be there and they're not, we don't talk about the money. We just don't. Now, another case in point, look at Anthony Thung. Mom and dad confirmed, day before, day of, on the phone call, all of it. Dad shows up without mom. Oh, where's mom? Oh, she got hung up last minute at work. Okay, let's get started. Did the tour, did the orientation lesson. Kid did great. Now, Dad, since mom wasn't able to make it today, we need to schedule Anthony's second lesson at a time where we know she can be here. In fact, if she's not going to be able to be here, we'll need to reschedule. So let's go ahead and book that right now. We scheduled the second lesson. They showed up. No mom. I was like, where's mom? Oh, no, she's on her way, I promise. Okay, so let's wait a minute. Mom shows up. Great. We go to the tour and orientation again. Well, guess what? That little 6-year-old Anthony knocks it out of the park because he's already done it before. He looks amazing. Dad's like, wow, he's better already. Mom says, whoa, this is great. They enrolled effortlessly. However, if we present the money and now he goes home to tell her about it, it's only going to be about the money. And at $249 a month, it's probably too much because cost is always a concern until value is understood. And if they're not there to see it and feel it, it's just dollars. And I don't want to put myself and my staff in the situation of fighting a losing battle. Now, his follow-up question says, well, what if they say they can make the decision, but then after the membership presentation, they say they have to check with the spouse?
Well, the answer is they weren't impressed enough to have confidence to make that decision. So the fallback is to guarantee they're not going to make a mistake.
That's right.
This is, I understand. So we'll have Dad come in. However, we found the right academy. So let's do this. Let's take advantage of the savings and get your son enrolled. And over the next X number of days or weeks, the same length of time that you have your trial for, if at any point you think you made the wrong decision by enrolling tonight and saving on tuition, all you have to do is let me know. Shoot me a text. Say, we're out of here. And I'll shred the agreement, refund 100% of your money. There's no risk. That's fair enough, isn't it? So just take the idea away that they're making a misstep. When a person tells you they can't make a decision because of X, they're typically not lying, but they're sharing with you the condition that you have to overcome. Overcome it. And we have a strategy called satisfaction guarantee. And you can issue a satisfaction guarantee for any length of time. What I would strongly recommend, whatever your trial length is, let's say it's 2 weeks, that's what I would do. I said, Mr. Lewis, this is the reason why we have what we call a 14-day satisfaction guarantee. See, if I heard you right, you think what would be best is for your son to utilize the entire 2 weeks before you make a decision. Is that right? Oh, yeah. We want to use the whole 2 weeks. Well, in that case, here's what we'll do, because I don't want you to miss out on the savings. Let's go ahead and take advantage of the membership, fill out the paperwork, put on debit, credit, whichever is best. And over the next 14 days, the same length of time of your 2-week trial, if for any reason you think it was a mistake for enrolling tonight, shoot me a text. We'll shred the agreement, refund 100% of your monies. There's no risk. That's fair enough, isn't it? If they still don't do it after that, they're not enrolling, guys. Get over it. You know, there's a lot of words that are difficult to use. And a lot of people have trouble with the word no. Matter of fact, they have so much trouble with the word no, they very seldom use it. And they say things like, not now, maybe later. Oh, we'll come back on Tuesday. That could be a no, find out. And the way you find out is you remove the risk entirely. And I think we have a workbook on the website that will take you through this strategy as far as how to address that, how to utilize a guarantee. Well, Fred, do anybody take you up on it? Occasionally. But I just know this, my best time to enroll anyone is at the end of the first visit.
Yeah.
If they have to come back a second or third time, they're matching up what we're doing with everything else in their life, and it diminishes the likelihood that they'll enroll. So extend the invitation of a guarantee. And if you'd like to learn more about that, perhaps we could set a call. What's next, sir?
All right. So next we have, if they say yes, do we reschedule right there or for? No, I don't stop the intro. We just don't talk about the money. Hey, your kid did great. He's going to do fantastic. Let's schedule your next lesson. Let's make sure the other parent can be here too. Well, how much is it? Oh, don't worry. We'll go over all that on your second lesson. You have a lot to look forward to. And that's it. I mean,
hey, let's address Steve Ray's question.
Yeah.
Do you know what the industry average is for a student continuing after the first month trial? Well, okay, you're going to love this. Ready? We don't let them use the trial. The trial is a hook. The trial is an offer. The trial is a call to action to take the first step without much risk to find out about martial arts. But if you're allowing people to use your trial, and I don't care how long it is, 1 week, 2 weeks, a whole month, 10 lessons, you will sign up less people. And there's a lot of reasons why, but let me tell you what my favorite reason is. They compare the rest of their life to what they're doing in your program, and is it a good fit? Listen, after week 3, they're tired of battling traffic. After week 3, sometimes they got to pry their kid away from their video game. After week 3, they realize they had to wash that uniform and break out the iron. They start seeing the stuff that makes it a little difficult or uncomfortable to participate. Now, Fred, are you suggesting we trick them on the first visit to put them on membership? Well, trick's probably a hard word, but I want to convey the value and encourage them to enroll at the end of the first visit. If you let these potential students use the trial, you will sign up less people. Oh, but Fred, that's not true. All the people that finish the trial enroll. Exactly. But how many start and how many finish? A trial is a low-level risk of trying your membership out. It's a hook to get people to call you to come in. But we're always going to leverage the value of the trial, if it's a good fit, to encourage them to enroll. Now, so to answer your question, if people are really trying to measure who continues after a month trial, you don't really understand the business as well as you might think. Because I tell you, how you see the business in terms of the numbers up front can determine not just your longevity, but your profitability. So don't let them use the trial. Apply the value of the trial as incentive for enrolling at the end of their first visit. And if they can't make a decision or you have a hard time promoting this idea, well, maybe you have a different kind of enrollment process that needs to be tightened up. When they walk into your academy, they see nothing. They see a big giant room, and all these features in your academy are meaningless. They have no value. They don't understand the cards. They don't understand this. They've seen this is the first martial art class. They don't understand any of that. But to get them to understand what will happen is you take them on a presentation and you allow them to get a glimpse in their imagination of the outcome that would happen if they did enroll their kid for a specific reason. Confidence, focus, concentration. My point is this, I'm getting long-winded, let me pull it back. Don't let them use a trial. You'll sign up less people. Allow them to apply the value of the trial as an incentive, and you'll help more people. Go ahead, you. All right, very good. What's the next question?
All right. So Eric Siley says, this month I'll be up 16, down 3. So we're up 13. Okay. With a sibling changed their mind. I don't know if it was a second or third sibling, but hey, that could happen. And a 6-year-old who came back for 1 month only. How do you have the conversation? This is a serious commitment while allowing a cancellation policy. At the point of I think there's 2 questions here. If I have someone that came back, they're not going to come back for 1 month only. They're going to come back to enroll on a membership. The fact they came back usually makes it easier to put them on a membership. But if they were to come back, if I had a mama come back and say, I want to sign up for 1 month only because I'm not sure if he's going to want to stick with it, I would simply say, all right, well, let's get you on the membership. Sounds like we need to get you on a black belt membership. But let me explain how our cancellation policy works. So if at some point in the future, near or far, it's no longer a perfect fit for your family, we'll simply part as friends. We'll hug it out and you'll always be welcome back again. Does that sound fair to you? Now, if she doesn't want to do that, I don't want to enroll you because, again, my job is to protect the community. This is a living being. And I don't want I don't want people in there that aren't in there. If they're in there, I don't want her to sit down next to another mommy and go, oh yeah, well, we're only here for a month. We're just going to take it as we go. I'm in charge, not that master. I tell him what to do. That's the conversation that gets had. Maybe not that explicitly, but that's the tone of it. And I just don't want that. And many, many, many years ago, we let people, basically participate as they wanted. And the moment we put a halt to it, everything got better. There's nobody in the building that's not on the team. If they don't want to be there, you're free to go. We have a cancellation policy that we explain, that's laid out very clearly so that this is no longer a perfect fit for your family. Hey, we'll part as friends and you are always welcome back. No harm, no foul. But if you're going to be here, you got to be here for real. Simple as that.
So to understand the second half of that question reads, how do you have a conversation that this is a serious commitment while allowing a cancellation policy? Because that's the way the world works.
Yeah.
And if you don't let people out of your membership, if you take them if you put them in collections or take them to court, you will get butchered online. Yeah. The truth is, we don't want anyone here unless they want to be here. And to help them want to be here, we have to encourage them to set long-term ambitious goals. In the Bible it reads, without vision, the people shall perish. Well, without a big enough reason, your students quit. And the big enough reason is what we enroll people on, and that is an outcome-based membership. Outcome-based means they knowingly sign up on a program that they understand where it's going to take them. A great example as far as if you don't have a clear outline, what happens? You realize that only 59%, you can Google this, 59% people who start college, finish college, they have a 41% attrition rate. Wow. If you had a 41% attrition rate, you wouldn't be in business. But anyway, let's get back to it. The reason why college kids drop out, well, first of all, most of the kids drop out within their first year. Half the kids who drop out in the first year drop out before Thanksgiving break. And what all these kids have in common is they didn't declare a major. Would you think that? So without a major, without a goal, without the pursuit of an outcome, it is hard to keep people around. However, I'm not going to keep anyone who doesn't want to be here. And you can make your cancellation policy just as stiff as you like. But I don't think it's an oxymoron to say, I want you to commit to this outcome. Let's commit. And still allow people to step off the membership if they choose. Because I tell you, a lot of people think, oh, they're on a membership. Mission accomplished, let's teach. No. In our mind, the moment they sign on the line that is dotted and they're a member, that's when the work really begins. And the work is to make certain they get what they wanted out of your membership. And you do that by tracking attendance. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Eric.
All right, next, we have, all right, that was Steve Ray. Thank you, sir. Got a little lost. Richard, we have Richard on here. I'm not sure which Richard. Richard who? Richard, can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, Richard Hackworth,
Hackworth. All right, and what part of the country are you in, sir?
Dade City, Florida, north of Tampa.
Nice. Okay. Well, his question is, where do we get the attendance card, the tracking cards that we're talking about? They are in the Black Belt group, and I highly recommend you download it, and we can customize it to fit yours, because some people progress based on a 4 class, 5 class, 10 class. So we can customize it for however you're currently set up, and even help coach you on what practices work best. So reach out, click that link, and we can help you get started with that. Leo says, in my studio, we went from a 2-day private trial before the days started, but at the beginning of the year, I changed it to a 1-month trial for the same price. I have had 13 people sign up for the trial, and the conversion rate's been great, but I'm increasing the amount of work on myself and then tracking them down after the month. Should I go back to the old system or keep trying this new one?
I'm not sure what the question is, but I have a suspicion you think your people need more time to make a decision. Well, if they just come back one more time, they'll get it. No, your students don't need more time to make a decision. They need more intensity and understanding. And if you can't reshape in the imagination of a student and their parent what will happen if their kid enrolls by the end of your very first lesson, then you might not be doing it right. Hey, listen to this. Your potential student and their parents' imagination is more powerful than your presentation. The problem is the longer they try it out before they buy it, the less they see that will impress them. So I don't want the membership to be about what they get to do and how well he does it. I want my membership with the parents understand this is our goal. This is not what we're going to do. This is what we're going to become. Because whether you realize it or not, we're in the personal development business. I mean, my grandmaster taught me when I was younger, the purpose of martial arts is to make better people. I think I mentioned that earlier. Yeah, and how do you make better people? Well, you help them achieve a direction so they stay on the straight and narrow and get more done and have a better time and grow. So to go back and address your question one last time, have a presentation that changes their mind about what will happen. When we present a membership from door to the floor to the office to a receipt, it takes about 50 minutes to an hour. And we're spending this one-on-one time, and sometimes we do it in small groups, allowing people to understand not what they get to do, but what potentially they and their children can become. And that's the key for enrollment. But there's one more thing I want to comment about that. Each time you have to revisit someone to re-invite them to enroll, whether a new student or upgrade, you're using time you'll never get back. So for example, let's say on average, it takes 3 times or 3 visits to enroll somebody. Well, for you to enroll 10 people, you need to have 30 interactions. For us to enroll people, we have 10. So that by itself allows you to scale your operation. And scaling simply implies do less, but create a better outcome. So more introductory lessons, more classes before they enroll does not increase your membership roster. And if you don't yield to this advice and continue doing that, you're going to recognize over the course of time that we're right about this, because you're inviting them to reconsider. You're inviting them to compare every aspect of their life to that 60 minutes they spend in your academy. I hope that was helpful.
All right. Steve Ray asking, what do you do about non-payment on a contract? You use a billing company or collections? Now, we personally, well, it doesn't matter which company you use. All right, whether you use Spark, My Studio, one of the 50,000 other ones out there. I mean, use whichever one you like, but I would not use a quote unquote billing company charging you 10% like we did in the old days. However, we do several things, and we coach clients on how to, get this simplified for you so that our tuition payments are coming in on the 5th or the 25th. So we have 2 days out of the month that we have to track and be aware of. And any payments that don't go through, we call them immediately and help them get that rectified, taken care of. Hey, I know a lot of times people lose their card, or the card expires. They haven't gotten the new card yet. They forgot to update it. Let me help. What card would you like to use to get that taken care of today? If they can't do it, or if they blow us off, or if they don't answer, no, we're not going to send them to collections. It's easier. Here's a Mertonism for you. It's easier to give birth than to resuscitate the dead. If they're not going to pay, they're not going to pay. Don't go chasing them. Just sign up a new white belt. It's much more fun. So we do reach out to them. We email them. We text them. We call them. We do everything we can. But typically, if you're getting more than just once in a while, it means we're not doing MIA calls, and there's other issues. Them not making their payment is usually a reflection of something that was missed weeks, if not months earlier. We are absolute adamant on Wednesday. We will call every person who hasn't been into the academy on Monday or Tuesday. If I haven't seen you Monday or Tuesday, you will hear a voice of one of our instructors on Wednesday. And that right there will curb your non-payments immediately. However, once in a while, someone still comes, it still happens. You can't absolutely stop it. We do our best to resuscitate it, rectify it. Heck, we even give them options to help save money on getting out of their membership. If we need to cancel it, cancel it. Cancellations are a big revenue stream for us. We generate thousands of dollars a month in cancellations as well. So there's a lot of things you can do, but sending them to collections does not help, because if I go back 20 years ago, we did. And I think we got, over the course of maybe 10 years, we had maybe 2 that paid up. And all the bad publicity you will get nowadays for it, it's just not worth it. It's not. It's easier to sign somebody up. Yes, sir.
One of the things we've learned here in Florida under Grandmaster Clark is that a missed payment, regardless of what's said, it was declined or fraud or whatever, a missed payment is a cancellation notice. Act accordingly. A missed payment means the membership is in jeopardy. You got to step it up. I'm going to tell a real quick story I think you'll enjoy. One afternoon, I was with Master Pesky, it's probably 10, 11 years ago. About 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the phone rings, he takes it, and I was listening to the conversation. It was a cancellation. And so Master Pesky gave this lady the instructions as far as how she would cancel the membership, what fees need to be paid, and goodbye, we hope to see you again, click. And I said, let's do something different. Let's call her back and say, Mrs. Smith, I just feel really uncomfortable by the conversation we just had. I'm so disappointed, because I tell you, I'm not ready to give up on your child, and I know you aren't either. So let's do this. And that let's do this part changed one of the steps we take to reverse cancellations. You want to tell the rest of the story, Master Pesky?
Yeah, she ended up giving us the authorization to run her credit card for $1,750 for the option to be able to come back and use that membership later. It was fantastic. And so now,
so here's how the conversation, I'm sorry, I'm just
go ahead.
That's how the conversation went. Well, Miss Lewis, I'm not ready to give up on your kid. I'm sure you're not either. And whatever the reason he needs to take a break, I'm sure is a good one. But I've never met anyone who said, way back in 1977, when I quit, that was the best day of my life. The truth is, quitting prevents you from getting what you wanted your kid to have. So let's do this. Let's give you the option, encouragement to return. Right now, you have a balance of $3,500. Let me do this. I'll take care of the first half of the balance of the membership. You take care of the second, and that membership will be waiting for you when you're ready to come back. She said, well, say that again. We'll take care of the first half of your program, $1,750. You pay the second half, and when you're ready to come back, we'll just pick up where you left off. This has been our final go-to on several occasions, and the number of people that have taken us up on this, I have simply lost track. So the way you look at cancellations, the way you approach cancellations can determine if it's a good or a bad thing. But people typically quit, as Master Pesky said, when they don't think they're getting what they thought they'd go after. And the way you prevent people from quitting is this: change the status of their membership. I'm going to say it one more time. Change the status of their membership. You can invite them to add more classes each week. You can invite them to set a higher goal. You can invite them to prepay a portion of a membership to enjoy a savings. Change the status of the membership. Let's talk about your spouse or your significant other. The reason why you're still together is you changed the status of the relationship. You went on a date. You became exclusive. You got married. You got engaged. You got married. You have a kid. Think about your memberships as relationships, and are you improving that relationship by changing their involvement, changing their status? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the purpose of an upgrade. The purpose of an upgrade is to retain the student long enough to get what he wants from your program. And this is the key to retention.
All right, next. So Master Carpiak says, your philosophy is a membership, not a program that can't be canceled, but can be transferred like Maya? I'm not sure. But what we do is we switched over years ago to promoting or selling outcome-based programs.
That hasn't changed.
This program is going to take you to Greenbelt. This program is going to take you to first degree, second degree, fourth degree. Now, how we pay for that, that's a whole different track. And this is one of the things that we teach clients on how to do. I mean, we have people right now have families paying tuition installments of $1,200 a month for 12 to 18 months. Why? Because they're paying for a membership that's going to get them to a big outcome. So the way we sell memberships, you can cancel it, but it's not a month-to-month membership by any means. It's outcome-based. So
don't confuse with how they pay to why they stay.
right.
We have become more flexible in our efforts to collect. And but I tell you, once a student has their sights set on an outcome, you can always leverage that membership for cash you prefer. Like, for example, here in Jacksonville, when you commit to a third degree, which is a 48-month program, and decide to prepay it, you save 25%. So it's like you get your fourth year free. Yeah, and again, it's month to month, but when they prepay, we go ahead and rewrite the agreement to make certain there's no misunderstanding. But let's not confuse with what they're signing up for and how they're paying. And as we work together, if we're granted that opportunity, we'll get everyone here different methods of collecting money faster. Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, there's only 3 ways to make the kind of money in this business and help the number of people we want. And here it is. Number 1, you have to enroll new students. And the trick to this is, I dare use trick. Whatever your goal is for active count, you have to enroll that number of students each month. So if my goal is to have 200 active students, I need to enroll 20 a month or 10 family memberships. The second thing is this: you got to charge more money for everything. Hey, listen, I remember the first time I broke a $99. I think I bumped up to 110 or 115. I thought, whoo, man, I'm high rolling now. The preferred membership here in Jacksonville is the company class 4 times a week. The tuition here is $399. So just decide to charge more money. Now, if you're reluctant to charge more for everything, from that mouthpiece or certification fee to your upper level memberships, I want you to realize it's the shortcut to change these people's minds about how valuable and great you are. It works in every industry. You meet a lawyer, he's charging $200 an hour. You meet the next guy, he's charging $500 an hour. Who's the better lawyer? Now, the truth is you are impacted by, well, that rate must mean he's really good. If you want to be perceived as the best in town, stop being the cheapest. Don't be the middle ground. Decide you're going to be more expensive, because you cannot discount your way to success in this line of work. And the mistake that's often made is most men and women in our business try to make our program seemingly affordable. No, make it valuable and charge a price that's going to change lives, yours and theirs. The student paying $400 a month at $399, I guarantee he's more dedicated, he's more consistent than that kid on the $199 2 times a week. I'm not sure if I gave enough information to make sense of that. But the truth is, if you want to be perceived as delivering a higher rate of value, charge more money. And the third way to make more money, let's recap: enroll more students, charge more money. Here's number 3, collect faster. Collect faster. Just because somebody commits to 4th degree doesn't mean they need 60 months to pay. If you compress the number of payments or the size of the payments, everybody wins. Hey, here's something that when I share this with you, you might push back, but it's true. On average, if a student isn't upgraded, on average, they'll stay involved in your membership 4 to 6 months, so we'll call it 5 on average. What you're going to find, though, the person that's paying the least typically quits first. So if the average payment is 5, what we've also found, the payment amount doesn't make a difference. You're going to collect 5 at $199. You're also going to collect the 5 at $399. So charging more money and collecting that money faster will change everything. If you've been in business for 15 years, you've already done $1 million in business. But $1 million over 15 years, I say this is a timeline, that's painful. $1 million over 10 years, well, that's more better, as my little nephew says. But $1 million in 6 months, that changes everything. So the concept is collect faster, move faster, get big commitments and move faster. And stop thinking that if you make your program more affordable, one day all that money that you daydream about will show up. It doesn't work that way.
That's right. So
is
we're
there-
almost out of time here. We just got a couple minutes left. Real quick, rapid fire here. Steve Ray says, so is your initial membership 36 months? No, it's for an outcome. For us, it's the first level of green belt. That could take a student anywhere from 10 to 14 months. And to piggyback on that, Master Hackelman says, does outcome based have a time limit? The way we're currently doing it? No. One of the great things about this program is it is outcome based. So we have a lot of Indian families that travel for the whole summer, no problem. They still make their payments because they're not losing out on what they're paying for. So, and that's another way to help further separate monthly installments from length of program. Half of our memberships pay off that entire about 12 months of training in 6 installments. Half. Why? Because they make 6 installments of X and that pays for their program until they reach the first level of green belt. If we do the same thing for black belt, we do the same thing for second, third, and fourth degree. So, and that's something I know tomorrow when you're on our training call, we can go into a deep dive on that for you, Master Hackelman. I think you'll really enjoy it. Okay. So since we're out of time, let's do a quick takeaway from y'all that have your cameras on. We threw a whole lot at you. You guys had great questions today. Thank you. I appreciate that. It makes our job fun. And I think it kind of opens up people's minds to think a little differently. And that's the trick to excelling in this business. You can't do the status quo. There are no regulations. You got to think outside the box. And one thing that we've been able to do is take a lot of outside ideas into the martial art world to improve your business. So with all that being said, Master Ramirez, what's one thing you're taking away from this call today, sir?
No, it's always good to hear everybody else's concerns and then adding it to something that we could do like the FaceTime. You know, we're used to, hey, can we get them on the call? But I've never actually done a FaceTime or even offered to do the FaceTime so they could see what the facility we look like, all of those other things. So that was just like such a minor thing that I just never tried to do at the time of enrollment or anything else like that. So hearing other people's more educated questions makes it also seem like I want to have those problems too. So I want to be able to overcome them as well, as opposed to it come out of the blue. So that just means I need more intros to be able to come up with more of those questions.
That's great. Thank you for sharing, sir. Matter of fact, one of our guys, Mr. Wong, he had an upgrade conference Saturday morning at 9 a.m. He upgraded the family to a black belt training program on Zoom, just like this, on Zoom from his living room. Now he put on his uniform top, I'm sure, but it was a Zoom call. Yeah. Master Hackelman, what do you think? What are we taking away today, sir?
Here we go. Okay. It was that with the question I asked, I mean, about being able to, you know, because we have belt ceremonies, so that's a whole different topic, but that outcome based thing, and then checking on them on Wednesday, because that means they missed either Monday or if they were on a Monday, Wednesday. Yeah. So that's like, I mean, that's really showing, because when we do call once in a blue moon, they always really appreciate it. Oh, thanks for checking. So to like, as soon as they miss one class, they're getting a call. You know, I think that's kind of I think that's a good showing we care kind of thing, which we do. So we're gonna be on our guys a lot more.
Love it. Love it. All right, Eric Siley, what are we taking away today?
Two things. This is an ongoing thing from our previous conversations, a meeting with one of my peers. Got to raise my prices. I'm doing it this week. I've already signed one person up on the new pricing. Number two, going to closing them after that first we do an one-on-one orientation, then 2 group classes. And I've always held back on trying to close them up front because I thought that they needed to experience the program. They're going to like the program. We just need to get it done. And if something doesn't work out, you know, it doesn't work out. But that makes a lot of sense to to try to do it up front rather than coming back and are they going to do it? Yes or no? So those two things. Thank you.
You could use the coming back as the fallback if they can't make a decision. But I want to add something to what you just said. One of the reasons why you should increase your prices is to change your mind about what you have to do. A drunk monkey with a clipboard can sign people up for $99. You got to know how to convey value to sign up for $399. So if you want to improve or up your game, increase your prices now and catch up to it. It's mind changing. And this is one of these very subtle adjustments you can make to change your mind, which is perhaps most important, about what you need to do and how to do it. So not only raising your prices creates that distinction between you and everyone else, it also forces you to raise your game. So I would invite everyone on this call to increase your tuition by $50 starting April 1. Not as an April Fool's joke, but as a way of you revving the engines and getting better at what it is that you do.
Yeah, and I just paid $1,800 for my 12-year-old daughter's competitive volleyball season, and they're like, we're going to make this really easy. We divided into $380 payments if you don't want to pay it all up front. We're really glad she made the team. We'll reserve the spot. First payment is due tonight. You know, it was really easy for me. I'm like, I look at what I do and how much more valuable it is than a season of competitive volleyball with one 18-year-old coach and one 16-year-old coach.
Yeah.
Can I tell you why that's happened to us as an industry?
Yes, sir.
I'll take that as a yes. Marketing and selling is what we learn last. The truth is, everyone in this call, the first thing you learn how to do was to teach a class. The last thing you learned how to do was to market and sell. And here's my experience. Whatever somebody learns first, they will always believe that is most important. But I, on the other hand, I had a whole different experience. My instructor hired me and said, you're not teaching until we enroll 300 students. Then you can help out. I started my career with Grandmaster Clark as a program director, a salesman. So the disadvantage is we get really good at all the stuff we get to do, but we very seldom start with the stuff we have to do to build a business. So if you fall in that category where you learned how to teach first and now you're getting into the game of marketing sales, throw yourself into it. I mean, just decide right now that the money you've made is not enough. And if you don't change how you ask for the money, even if you double your effort, you won't change your income. You got to change how you ask for money. And we only ask for money when we're deserving of it, by allowing a student or a family to appreciate the impact that our membership will have and the value that actually is.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you. Perfect. Melinda, what are we taking away from this today?
She looks like an angel.
I think the number one thing I was thinking about is how important it, like, just on that first day, how, like, it just drops drastically about the chances of people signing up. So
It's true.
It's absolutely true. You got one shot to make a first impression, and whatever got them to come in the door, when they come in the door, it's been spent. It's gone. I got to give you a bigger, better, bolder reason to come back, and that's a membership. Yes. Kevin, what are we taking away today, sir?
Not setting up roadblocks that students can't, pass, and these arbitrary, like, quality control things that we've been taught to put in there to make sure that, our black belts are this and this and that. When we want them to come in, we want them to train, like, stop putting things in their way that's going to prevent them to be able to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to think anybody on this call gets somebody through 300 lessons, they're going to be pretty good. So let's get more people through the first 300 lessons, then talk about quality. Okay. Justin, what are we taking away, sir?
A lot of it is kind of tying in time to ranks. That way, when somebody comes in, you can give them an outcome-based goal, but it's theoretically tied to time. So if you're looking for 36 months, you would tie it to whatever color belt. That way, they're not looking at time; they're looking at the belt.
Take it a step further. When you talk about time, we're talking about number of lessons. Like here in Jacksonville, to earn a first degree black belt, you can do it in 15 months. Now everybody's going, "Oh, we shouldn't do that." But Justin, you've been here. Are we slouchy? Are we weak?
No.
No, we rock. And there, but to get there in 15 months, you would have had to done what? Take at least 300 classes, which means you're showing up 4 or 5 times a week.
Pretty much every day.
And the chances, that's who you guys were. The folks that are on this call, you lived at the academy. You were that student who would wait to be the last one to leave, hoping they would invite you to run the vacuum over the mat. You know, the truth is, if we want to help more people, we have to help them set a big, bold outcome, a big goal, and help them get there as soon as possible by putting in the work. So it's a combination of outcome and number of times you train will dictate the speed at which you go from one rank to the next. Excellent.
All right, well, we've got to go. We are out of time. Roman at 11:37 mark dropped the link in there for any of you guys that want to find out more. Hopefully you guys got an email today about our black belt program. If you didn't, reach out and let us know. You should have. Also, Roman, do you want to give them tell them about the high level?
Yeah, I noticed this when I was talking to some of the new black belt clients, and it's that they were paying for a high level subscription through somebody else or high level themselves. It's normally like agency account can be hundreds of dollars, but just for a single location, it's at least 97. Or if you're buying it through a third party, they might have upcharged you to some other amount. And as Warrior Black Belt, we offer an account for just $1 a month, and you just pay for the texts, and it's cheaper than Spark. So it's just an extra bonus that some people thought was pretty valuable. So I wanted to make sure that everyone knew about it.
It's what we use for our lead, nurture, and follow-up. When someone opts into the ads, they automatically go in there. It triggers a series of autoresponders via text and email. It hits our phones to call them. It just came in. It actually rings your phone, press any key to connect. The conversation we have determines on where they move forward in the funnel and what set of autoresponders trigger next to continually nurture and get more bang for your buck. And yeah, I didn't realize people were paying upwards of $150, and it's virtually included with your black belt membership. I mean, for $1. And so any of you guys that aren't already using it or want to find out more about that, also click the link, book an onboarding call, and we'll tell you all about it. In the meantime, thanks for being on the call today, guys. Everybody, appreciate you all being here. Great questions. And for you guys that are part of Black Belt, we'll see you tomorrow. And for everybody else, we'll see you next Monday. Have a great week.